Nutrition is the science of food and nutrients. Having a good one maintains our good health, prevents forgetting disease, and in children and adolescents is essential for growth and development. Nutrients are chemical substances present in food that serve the functions from all the body. There are 6 nutrients, and they are classified in macronutrients that are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and micronutrients that are vitamins and minerals. Also, we have water, that is the most abundant nutrient in the body. There are some specific nutrients that we can only get from food. This means that the body can make them or make enough of them. These are called essential nutrients. Carbohydrates are the main energy source for the body. They're classified in complex carbohydrates or polysaccharides, such as starch, and simple carbohydrates that are the D and monosaccharides, such as lactose, fructose, or glucose. This one is the most common and is stored in the liver and muscle as glycogen, as energy reserve in case the energy runs out. The homeostasis of glucose level tries to stay in the range of 50 to 80 mg over 100 ml of blood. Another type of carbohydrate is fiber. This is divided in 2 kinds. Insoluble fiber, that is found in wheat bran and vegetables, and has a laxative effect that protects against colon cancer by reducing the time of contact between the damaging substances and the intestinal wall. And soluble fiber, that is found in oat bran, grains, and seeds, and prevents the absorption of cholesterol. Simple carbohydrates, better known as sugars, are found in foods such as candy, sodas, and desserts, and they are not so recommended because they have a high glycemic index. That means they are absorbed quickly in the intestine and increase the glucose level in blood. This causes that pancreas releases an overload of insulin to regulate the glucose level. But if this process becomes chronic, it leads to insulin resistance that could cause type 2 diabetes or some high blood fatty acid level that increases the risk of heart disease, liver disease, and several types of cancer. Proteins are formed by amino acids. There are 20 different types, of which 8 are essential amino acids because the body is unable to produce them. If a food provides the 20 amino acids, it's considered like a complete protein, such as meat, milk, and eggs. And if it's missing some amino acids, then it's an incomplete protein, such as legumes, seeds, nuts, and grains. Proteins have a structural function. This means that they are going to integrate all the structures in the body, such as muscle, skin, enzymes, and hormones, among others. They are not stored in the body, that's why we need to consume them every day. However, the daily requirement is low, so if we have an overabundance of protein, that can lead to an overproduction of urea. That could cause a dehydration, or increases the calcium loss, which in turn may increase the risk of kidney stones or osteoporosis. There are 2 main types of lipids: saturated fats, that usually come from animal origin and they are solid in room temperature, except for palm and coconut oil, and unsaturated fats that are found in oils and are liquid in room temperature. One of these are essential fatty acids because body cannot produce them. They are linoleic and linolenic acids, and are considered as polyunsaturated oils. The most famous is probably omega-3 for its protective properties against heart disease, and it can be found in salmon, sardines, trout, and flaxseed oil. You probably heard about fats are bad to health. Well, this is not entirely true because, as mentioned above, there are many types of fat that are necessary and even protective to the body. But it is true that some fats such as saturated fats and cholesterol increase the risk to get cardiovascular disease. This is because we have 2 types of lipoproteins that transport cholesterol. High-density lipoproteins are considered good because it takes cholesterol from the tissues to liver to be converted to bile salts. On the other hand, low-density lipoprotein is considered as bad because it takes cholesterol from liver to cells. And when we eat many saturated fats, LDL cholesterol levels increase, while unsaturated fats decrease these levels. Even so, there are another type of fat that are the worst because reduce the function of the cell membrane to clear cholesterol from the bloodstream. That is why they are more prone to cause cardiovascular disease than saturated fats. They are known as trans fats and can be found in pastry, fried food, and packaged snacks that contains hydrogenated vegetable oils or vegetable shortening in their label. Vitamins are organic micronutrients that are required in small amounts. They do not provide energy, but they function as coenzymes. This means that they help to other nutrients to complete their functions. The acquisition of vitamins could be through precursors called provitamins, through another path as vitamin K that is produced by bacteria in the gastrointestinal tract, or as most of them through diet. Vitamins are classified into types: fat-soluble, that are vitamins A, D, E, and K, and these must be absorbed with dietary lipids in the small intestine and can be stored in cells, especially in the liver. And water-soluble, that are the B vitamins and vitamin C. As they can be dissolved in water, if there's an excess of them, they could be secreted in the urine. Vitamins also can be classified as antioxidant. These are A, C, and E. This means that they inactivate oxygen-free radicals that are highly reactive molecules that damage cell membranes, DNA, and arteries. And that's why they speed up aging and can cause certain disease, like cancer, heart attack, or cataract. Free radicals could be produced by the body itself, and others come from the environment, as tobacco smoke or radiation. For having a good amount of vitamins in the body, it's important to eat a balanced and complete diet. That includes several fruits and vegetables that are the main source of them. In some special cases, it's necessary to take supplements. For example, a woman who is planning to get pregnant needs to take folic acid, or people that have a strict dietary vegan regimen must take vitamin B12. Other case is hypovitaminosis, that is the deficiency of a particular vitamin. On the other hand, we have the hypervitaminosis, that is when the body is unable to utilize, store, or excrete the vitamin. This is most common with fat-soluble vitamins and could cause symptoms like nausea, vomiting, weakness, irritability, headache, among others. Minerals are another type of inorganic elements. There are two types: macrominerals like calcium, phosphorus, sodium, and potassium that the body needs in large amounts, and trace minerals that are needed in small amounts like iron and zinc. It's important to eat food that contains especially calcium, phosphorus, iron, and iodine, because they have important functions in the body, like regulate enzymatic reactions, serve as coenzymes, control the liquid volumes, or the nerve impulses. The last nutrient is water, that is the most important and abundant inorganic compound in all living systems. For the average person, it's important to drink about 2 or 3 liters per day, since we couldn't survive without it many days, and this is because water provides the medium in which most metabolic reactions occur. Each gram of protein and carbohydrates provides about 4 calories, while a gram of fat provides 9, and a gram of alcohol provides 7 calories. Water, fiber, vitamins, and minerals don't provide any calories. One average person needs about 2,000 calories per day, but they can adjust according to physiology, exercise, or health characteristics. For having a balanced diet, we need to distribute the macronutrients 50–60% carbohydrates with less than 15% from simple sugars, less than or equal 30% from fats with no more than 10% of saturated fats, and 12–15% of proteins, trying to include vegetable sources of it. But these rates could be adapted to the lifestyle or goals of the person. The general recommendations for healthy eating are: Eat a variety of foods. Choose good fats and limit the bad ones. Eat plenty of vegetables, fruits, and grain products. Avoid sugar, junk food, and alcohol. Eat less than 6 grams per day of salt. And follow the proportions presented in the food plate. It's important to know that diet is all the food that we ingest in 24 hours, but the quality and balance of it determine our health status. Metabolism is the whole process through which the body obtains and uses energy to perform all its functions. It has two kinds of simultaneous activities. Catabolism, that is the chemical process to break down complex structures into simpler ones to get more energy for body functions. And anabolism, that is the opposite process in which the body takes and combines the simple molecules to form complex structures. The energy that is required in both processes is called adenosine triphosphate or ATP. Metabolism balance can be seen externally by the gain or loss of weight in the body, and this will be regulated by the calories intake. A calorie is a measured unit that indicates how much energy is provided by food. So, metabolic rate indicates how much calories or energy the body uses, and this energy can be used to produce ATP or heat. The average basal metabolic rate, this means the energy the body expends only for its vital functions, could be 4.8 calories for each liter of oxygen to oxidize a balanced meal. Or, in other terms, 22-24 calories per each kilogram of body mass. Also, it's necessary to add another calories from digestion and daily activity, such as walking or go up and down stairs, in a range from 500 or 3000 calories if you are Michael Phelps or something. Body weight is regulated by the balance between the calorie intake and the calorie expend. This means that if people eat more than they expend with their about 60% of BMR, about 30% of physical activity, and 10% of food-induced thermogenesis, the heat that is produced during digestion, they will gain weight. And this happens because the body stores the exceeded energy in the adipose tissue as triglycerides. Contrary to when people don't eat enough, the adipose tissue breaks down in a catabolic process to provide extra energy. Despite there is no regulation process for monitoring the weight or size, the negative feedback mechanism of homeostasis are regulating both the energy intake and energy expenditure. For example, hypothalamus stimulates the release of a hormone called leptin that causes the satiety, that is the feeling of fullness and the lack of desire to eat, in order to decrease the adipose tissue. So it's proportional. The more triglycerides are stored, more leptin is secreted into the blood. Insulin has a similar effect but smaller. Another neurotransmitter secreted by hypothalamus is neuropeptide Y that stimulates food intake. On the other hand, leptin stimulates the release of another one called melanocortin that have the opposite function, inhibit food intake. But these are not the only substances that participate in this process. The best way to achieve energy homeostasis is by eating balanced meals, as it was explained before. Otherwise, this imbalance could lead to obesity or eating disorders. Body mass index is one of the most common ways to measure obesity. It can be calculated by dividing the weight into kilograms by the height in meters squared. For example, if a person has a weight of 67 kilograms and a height of 1.70 meters, the operation is 67 by 1.70 squared, which leads to a result of 23.2 kilograms per meter squared. That places the person in a normal range. Even though it's important to emphasize that BMI only calculates the relationship between height and weight, but doesn't measure body fat, that is another reference to no obesity in a person. Although obesity is given by the imbalance between calories and metabolism rate, it is multifactorial because it's a combination of sedentarism, bad eating habits, lack of sleep, certain medications, medical problems, genetics, economics, age, among others. The consequences of maintaining a high weight is developing some disease, such as type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, breathing disorders, some types of cancer, hormone problems, to name the most representative. Fortunately, obesity is preventable by improving the exercise and eating habits. The best way to do it is with small changes sustainable over the long term. Other consequences of metabolism imbalance are the eating disorders. Most common are anorexia and bulimia. Anorexia nervosa is when a person stops eating or starts using purgative methods, such as vomiting or using laxatives, and it's caused by the extreme fear to gain weight. Some of its symptoms are low blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, constipation, bone density decreases, menstruation ceases, the skin becomes dehydrated, and the internal organs start shutting down. Bulimia nervosa is when a person consumes large amounts of food in a short amount of time, followed by an attempt to rid oneself of the food by purgative methods, including excessive amounts of exercise. This eating disorder is more difficult to diagnose because it can coexist with obesity or anorexia. The damages that bulimia can cause are laceration on gastrointestinal tract because of the vomit, arrhythmias, kidney damage, or even death. The treatment for eating disorders must be nutritional monitoring, behavior modification, and psychotherapy.